Well, hello, my friends. I'm here for a couple of words of encouragement from Carpo. Sounds pretty stupid, really, saying it, but you know what? That's how it is. I'm pretty stupid. And then, of course, I don't mean that in the way that I'm stupid. I guess I'm stupid silly. I'm a silly person. I like to joke around and have a good time, but I take life seriously at the same time. I should say, I'm a serious person, but I don't take life seriously. That's a much better way of saying it. When it comes to conversation, I take things very seriously and to heart, but I don't do it out of arrogance or trying to prove myself. But I feel like my part in this world is to try to prove the parts that I feel are true or that have been revealed to me to be true. Not for the sake of having on my tombstone, Carpo was right about this, but rather, Carpo tried to be right about things for the greater good of everyone, to try to help everyone. And that's, that's a little bit arrogant on my part to say that I'm even trying to help anyone, but this particular video, I want to talk about something that I think that everyone can do to change their life. And that's to change your perception, change your attitude. Hear that guy who's vrooming away right now? He lives across the street over there, about a block up. You'll hear him revving his engine at 2 in the morning. He'll skid out of there. I've heard him and his wife yelling at each other. I've heard the guy screaming, "Fuck you, fuck you." And generally it's a pretty quiet neighborhood. But I figured I'd throw that in as an example of someone who's obviously not happy in life. Someone who lives through the noise of their car to show how angry they are. Someone who is living in a very shallow state of mind, yet living in a civilized part of the world. And of course, anyone can be civilized. It doesn't matter where you live. And the word civilized is, kind of a silly word to use, because civilization as we see it doesn't mean that we're, better off than anyone else. But using civilization as a metaphor or not a good or a bad thing. But, sorry, going off. Point is that the guy lives here, and you know that he's had issues with his family, just like we all have. You know that he's had issues with his image and ego, just like we all have. You know that he may have had problems growing up, just like we all have. And maybe he has problems with money, just like we all have. But some of us choose to behave, and some of us choose not to behave. And not behaving is abuse, or abuse of others. Sometimes it's through punching a hole in the wall, and maybe it's non-physical, maybe it's not threatening to anyone. I have friends who have had in the past very, very bad anger problems, which caused them to just do just that. I have a friend who punches holes through walls, or used to all the time, but he never hurt a fly. He would never harm a person. He was the kindest, gentlest soul. So while he had anger problems, he would know how to channel it properly. Now, hearing the sirens going right now, and after that guy took off out of here, I know they're not related anyway, it reminds me of a couple years back when I started doing these videos. When I would get interrupted, I would get frustrated. And I used that as a catalyst to understand my frustration better. And I realized, well, when something's interrupted that I am involved in, then I get frustrated with it. It's just like, you always want to be responsive to your kids or to your family, but if you're in the middle of doing something important, you're like, hold on a minute. And you can't just jump away from what you're doing, nor do I want to cancel my video and start all over. But it didn't bother me at all this time, and that's because it's something that I've chosen to work on. Not just video noise or background noise in my videos, because I've never edited really many videos at all. Only ones I was trying to make a point in the past when I had the little editing program for a while, but it's like free-flowing, freestyle philosophy, I guess, and I don't care about the backgrounds, I don't care about the image, I don't care about the quality, I just care about getting my point across. And at the same time, I do want to fit in with, not society, not to impress those who find brand names or anything interesting, but within my own groups, my own group of philosophers, people who say, yeah, I like to think too, I like to understand too. But the reason for that is because, and to get back on track here, is the most important thing that I've tried to convey over the years is mental alchemy or transmutation. Transmutation of awareness into something greater. And when I was younger, psychedelics helped me to attain that, the first glimpse of it, I should say, in my teen years, 16 to say 19 or so. We had a lot of fun with psychedelics, but they taught me to respect them and revere them. You know, only over the years have I started to use them as the proper tools that they are. They are microscopes to the soul. And it's not just psychedelia, but that's the Western type of enlightenment, because we can, we have lost our religion, if you will. And I don't mean any particular religion. I'm not talking about Christianity or Buddhism or any of that. I'm saying that we have lost our faith in not just the system that we inhabit or that we've created, and not just the religious systems and doctrines, which have been faulty from the beginning, and at least quickly after the beginning, people have taken advantage of religion and used it to control people, and in the process have mixed up the truth with fiction. And in the process of the political arena, the same thing has happened. I try to understand religion on its own basis because I understand the need for people to have faith. I also understand the need for a system of taxation and a system of government to run a society properly. Because you and I don't want to fill the potholes in the road. You and I aren't school teachers. Yet we expect our kids to have an education and the roads to be fixed. So thinking things through really helps us to understand the world. But how we view the world is the most important thing. Turning things around and mentally transmuting them into something greater. And this was the secret of the alchemists. And a lot of people will say that there was a lot of actual transmutation of metals going on, perhaps. But when you look into it deeper, you see that the adepts realized that in the end, once you've attained the type of enlightenment it might require to transmute lead into gold, gold ceases to be the desired outcome. The gold is the symbol for the enlightened soul. It always has been. It's not about gain, it's about understanding. And that understanding is that anything that happens to you, no matter how horrible, no matter what type of imprisonment or what type of impositions people put on your body or try to put on your mind, as long as you're a conscious being and you're still aware of yourself, your rights and your values cannot be stripped away of what you decide to think. Your thoughts are your own. And this is how we go back to George Orwell and Aldous Huxley, things like 1984, talking about doublethink and doublespeak. If you haven't read it, please do so. But we're living in that world of doublespeak, where you could go back to the Minority Report and precognition or pre-crime, where they would arrest a person because they're thinking of committing a crime. Seems to be that's not necessarily really a fear of arresting a person as a pre-crime. It's a symbol or a metaphor for the only thing that can't be taken from us are our thoughts. And once those are invaded, once the devices really are on the market for people to read your thought forms, waveforms, which they are out there, then the world will change big time. And that's something that scares me. If a person can scan a person and say, well, this person has criminal behavior and their brainwave patterns, but let's set that aside and just say, what I'm trying to say here is that beyond that, and beyond the fears that we have of mind control, you and I who are sitting here right now can decide how we want to feel about life. I could be sitting out here on this beautiful back porch with the birds chirping, this blue sky, and I could think, oh man, I'm broke, which I usually am. Or I could think, oh man, I've got to clean this place up, which I usually do. I could think of a million things that bother me, but I don't. because I choose to think positive. Now I want to turn around and leave on one note that's also very important to this. How you think. Positivity. You'll see some video of a person with a great, a nice background and happy music, and they'll look enlightened, and they'll tell you, you can do anything you want. You can have anything you want. All you have to do is think about it. It's all about the intention. Here, $49.95, you can join my webinar or buy my book or take my course. Well, looks like their intention is working, only they're receiving money, but my point is that it's not about that. It's not about positivity all the time. It's not about telling people, you can always be happy, because that's foolish, that's dumb, it's ignorant. Nobody can be happy all the time. And I'm not going to get into the yin and yang and the ups and downs and the pendulum and the idea that you cannot feel positivity until you've had negativity, or vice versa, that from pain comes pleasure, and vice versa. That when you experience something negative, you're always going to come out feeling more positive. That getting sick is just a catalyst to feel well again. Knowing these things and being aware of these things has changed my life. And it hasn't changed it a whole lot, because I've always been a positive thinker. I've always been the kind of guy who tries to think positive. But I realize a lot of people have not grown up with that. Some people have had physical and mental, verbal abuse. They've been talked down to, while I've been positively reinforced by my family and friends, teachers. Even when I was flunking out of school, my teachers would say, you're a really good student, you're really good at your tests. It's too bad you don't do your homework. But all these reinforcement helped me. Even though I'm not that good of an artist, people say you have great art. I think my poetry sucks. People say it's great. I think some of my videos are pretty stupid, and some people like them. And that reinforcement is what keeps us going. You cannot let it run your ego. You cannot let it say, I'm the shit. You have to take it with humility, because you're going to take the abuse too. But realize that there's no positivity without the negativity. And this is how we learn what really works, is through experience and through talking with others. And when a person comes back vile, arrogant, hateful, mean, and scolding, and they decide they're going to tell you that you're probably an abuser, or you probably beat your wife, or you probably beat your children, or something like that has nothing to do with the conversation, then rather than getting angry at the person and saying, hey, you're accusing me, realize they may be reflecting their own shortcomings or their own life's negativities onto you, and that those people need help. And it's hard, because when a person's calling you names and making fun of you, it's hard not to strike back. When my wife says at least once a week, she goes, man, I don't know how you do it. Because she reads my videos and she'll read through the comments people leave. And she's like, man, what is with some people? I say, you just learn to accept them. You learn to take it for who it is. But I still snap back at them. That's just the life. I'm not going to let anybody tread on me, and that's kind of the point. I'm not going to pretend like I'm this happy-go-lucky, oh well, bro, rainbows, unicorns. I'm going to tell it like it is, because that's what my life's all about. And while it does hurt sometimes to tell the truth, most of the time it makes life a lot easier. And the truth is that if I complain about anything in my life, I'm missing the point. There's no room for complaints, only for fixing. And if you see something that's wrong, fix it. And while I'm sitting here making a video, I could be cleaning the backyard. I could be taking care of responsibilities. I could be doing other things, but I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'll find time, and I'll do the things I want to do. And I mention these things because these are the things that bother us, the little things we need to take care of. Damn, I got to get my car in the shop. Oh man, I really got to paint the baseboards in the house, or I got to replace this window, fix my car. I've got to buy a gift for so-and-so. The holidays come and they're the most stressful for people because they feel like they're obligated to buy all this stuff. And you think, what does this mean? Are we trying to buy our way out of our sadness, And I feel for people who shop. I've had addictions to mild shopping addictions to Goodwill, where I go down there every couple days and look for records. I look for the new, and sometimes one time I found a whole Pink Floyd collection and a Grateful Dead collection, and they were all mint. And those are the little moments where you get a dopamine rush and you're excited and you think, I gotta get this again. And there used to be all kinds of vintage stereos you could find there and stuff. And I realized none of this is transferable. This is not happiness that carries on beyond the moment of purchase. And I stopped. And this was, years ago, and I still got all these records and stereo stuff. But the thing I'd like to mention is most things are like that we purchase. Very few things really endure. There's only one thing that as a consumer, that I consume that endures and actually benefits me more after I've consumed it, and that is psychedelics, psilocybin mushrooms mostly. They allow me to see a world of truth. And although I don't want to bring psychedelics really into this video because it's mostly just about, positive thinking, I have to be honest and say it has opened my mind to so much more in this world. I have tripped so many times, yet when I really look back in the last 10 years, it's only been a couple times a year, tops, maybe once or twice. And those times are really special. And only in the last 15 years with the internet have all these videos come out talking about people who say, they stopped cluster headaches, they stopped anxiety, they stopped depression, they pulled them out of their pit of despair. And I'll feel myself starting to creep into the negativity sometimes. And I'll think, I need a trip. And I will take a journey on psilocybin. Say 4 or 5 grams is enough for me to experience what I want to experience. And lay there and process what's going on. And afterwards, talk about it. And with people I love. And realize what I need to do to change my life. The things I need to do to better myself. And now that all the new videos and evidence and research is out to show that I wasn't just deluded, because I was always told, dude, you're just taking acid, you're taking mushrooms, you're taking psychedelics, you're having hallucinations. But the confirmation comes through not just what people say, but the look in their eyes when they tell you, I had a life-changing experience on psilocybin. And that's important to me because I feel like in this subject matter of positive thinking, having a good outlook on life is important. Having a good relationship with life is important. But having a good relationship with death is even more important. And that means as much as we embrace life and love it, we also have to shake hands with death and realize that we will die. And taking psychedelics puts us through what they call the little death. It's the ego death. It's similar to a very mystical experience in certain cultures, but I give it all the praise of helping me to open those doors of perception. And I'd like to also say that psychedelics do not hold that door open. They can blast the door wide open if you take too much, but you'll never attain any type of enlightenment by taking a large dose of psychedelics and expecting it to help you. They're a catalyst for wanting to understand. So, with that, I bid you all adieu. I hope you have a fantastic day, whatever you're doing, whoever you are, wherever you are. Thanks for watching, something I don't usually say, but I feel grateful that I have subscribers that are interested in these types of things because I think a lot of them are important. This subject in particular is important to me because by altering my perception about things that I see as negative, then every time I'm feeling bad about something, I learn how to fix it by rethinking my perception on it. And that, my friends, has the biggest impact on physical and mental health. It's how you think about things. Have a great day.